Yo, what's going on, people? Back again. On TV, reporting live from London with another lockdown pending. Boy, it's getting a bit peak. It's not going to be easy in the next few days, but we stick with it. We stay there. Luckily, we've got a lot of fights, a lot of boxing news to keep us entertained. Before we kick off, I've got to say big up to the co-host, man like Sam. How you doing, bro?
All good, bro. All good. Just kind of surviving in this situation. Like, look at all what's going on. Kind of looking at Quarantine Club again is going to be starting soon. So we've been planning for that and all these other good interviews that hopefully we should be able to secure and speak to fighters about the second wave of lockdown. So it's going to be quite interesting and always, you know.
Exactly. It's going to be mad, bro. But yeah, it's been it was good to catch it up on Sunday. Do a bit of impromptu sit down with Savage Dan. See what he's done in the boxing world. So that was definitely good. So before we go, for those of you listening on audio, shame on you, but the number to call is 01506 353 955. And for those of you watching live online, please remember to do the damn thing again and subscribe, share, and call in because we want to hear the boxing world's opinions. Lots to talk about this week's episode. Last weekend's fight, your man Chisora taking on Usyk. Guys like Tank Davis coming up against Santa Cruz, and a lot of boxing news, bombshells from the Bronze Bomber, many excuses. So yeah, we're gonna chop it up today and get into it. But I think there's no better place to start really. And let's do this a bit different. Let's do it a bit big up our London African affiliate, man like Lawrence Okolie.
Okolie's up the cage.
WBO World Cruiserweight title announced for Sunday, the 12th of December. So all things pending okay outside of the lockdown. He will be taking on Kloaki for his first title shot on the undercard of Joshua versus Pulev. Bro, give me your thoughts on this, man. I think it's a good look for Okolie, right?
Nah, Okolie's been planned everything so smart, you know. He's been so controversial over the past few months of his endeavors and rapping career and just really building up the kind of hype for this fight because he knew it's been coming for a while. To that camp quite closely. Shout out to 258, Henry, Okolie, and all those guys. But yeah, it's been going on for some time. And now the way he strategically planned the hype and everyone's talking about Lawrence Okolie, and now, boom, fight, WBO championship, 12th of December. Like, he's just going to look like the man. Like, whether you say whatever about his rapping career, the guy can bang. And as long as he wins that, no one's on to him. You're just going to rate him even more. And yeah, shout out to him, man.
Yeah. No, and I think, you know what? I mean, a lot of people will kind of say, you know, Okolie, they talk about his fighting style. I think that's the best way to say it. I think it's not the most pleasing on the eye, but I think he is in a division where, one, you've got to show how strong you are and how tough you are. Usyk was one of the few guys that had like dope skill set. You know, a lot of guys in that division always were kind of bangers, even if you're talking about Holyfield, you're talking about David Hayes. Usyk came in with something totally different. But for Okolie, I think it's a really good look. I think he's got a really great shot against Kloaki. Again, great fighter. Somebody that is, you know, seasoned. He took part in the WBSS World Boxing Super Series.
Yep.
And I think if you're looking at this from Okolie's perspective, it's a great way to end 2020. I think it was this year or maybe sometime last year, he did say, look, I'm going to be a world champion. So this has been on the cards for some time now. Obviously, pandemic postponed the earliest shot. But I think, look, he hasn't been out for a while, and now he's coming back at this level. Fair play to him. So, yeah, got to big up man like big up man like Okolie with the sauce. You know what I mean? But yeah, so I think other than that, let's get to the main news. Boom, you know, we saw a great fight. Really, I mean, in my opinion, it was a great fight. We won't talk too much on it, but it was a great fight between Tank Davis and Leo Santa Cruz. 6 rounds, but literally all action from the moment the bell went. We saw Tank Davis come in with that Mexican style, mimicking Mayweather in terms of, you know, just showing appreciation for becoming a pay-per-view star. And also, just like Mayweather, he ended up beating a Mexican. I mean, bro, we touched on it Sunday, but just looking back now, you know, had a day to let everything season, rewatch the fight. I mean, how good is Tank Davis, bro?
Oh, Tank Davis is unbelievable.
Yes,
Like,
big up the lamb. Yes.
yes, and we're looking forward to hearing from you, bro. But
Yes.
how great is Tank Davis?
Yeah.
He's special, man. He's dynamite in both hands. You've seen him knock people out with the right. He's knocked people out with the left. He's just a monster when he gets going. Doesn't throw any shots. Kind of like Wilder in a sense, where you always know what's coming, but this guy's got a bit more technical, or a lot of technical ability. He's vicious, man. Just vicious. What he did, Santa Cruz is always, you know, we always said that Tank could get outworked, and you know, he was getting outworked for a number of rounds, but you know, he's going up 2 weight classes here, and Tank just literally just hit him hard, bro. Like hit him hard. He was vicious. He kept trying to counter, kept trying to go through, kept trying to do things, and it's like Tank just knew it was coming. The opening was going, and then boom, the uppercut, knockout of the year in my eyes, unless you know,
enjoy your holiday, bro.
unless AJ or you know who else is there. I can't really see anyone else having a big knockout of the year. Besides that, that was really special. Congrats to him. On, see what he did with the Mexican shorts. But what I will say is, I just think this whole kind of fake gloves, doing all that kind of shit needs to stop.
The controversy, I did hear about that. I saw people always going to be salty, bro.
Killing the sport. It doesn't make sense to me. Like, do you know what it is? I think it's the people that don't really know the game are the ones saying he put things in his gloves. I'm thinking, do you know how hard it is to get away with doing that? Do you know how mastermind you'd have to be to do that?
I mean, exactly. And I'd always say it's not impossible because it's been done before. And if somebody wants to find a way, they can do it. I think the key thing is, like, the gloves are checked. I think that's the key thing to always, as you said, you know what I mean? Like, you look at...
In COVID?
Yeah, people have got time even more so now, right? Do you know what I mean? People have got more time. Real talk, because it's not as, like, everything's not as intense. Everything's so, like, separated. And back to the point, I mean, I've witnessed it myself, you know, like, both fighters, the day of the weigh-in, they check both gloves, and then the gloves are stuck with the commissioner, and then the day of the fight, they bring them to the fight. So, look, I think people that are talking about Tank Davis, I think the good thing I'll say is, look, I'll say with regardless in the sport, I think, look, if there's an accusation and there's photographic evidence, something looks dodgy, then let's check it out. Let's have the conversation. But I think that energy has to be matched all the time. It can't just be when a certain fighter does it that we're looking into it and we're getting answers. It's got to be a constant thing. But yeah, moving on from that, we saw Usyk take on Chisora up in London, here, Wembley. I mean, bro, listen, for me, I've found I've got to be a bit blunt here. I found Sky Sports commentary, like, very strange because, like, Tony Bellew was giving Chisora 4 rounds up. You know, he felt even to the point where he felt he won the fight. I don't know if he's come out and changed that comment now, but like, I have to say, for me, I'm not going to say Chisora won because he didn't, in my opinion. I think he done well to last the 12 rounds. But I would say Usyk was always in control. He always controlled the range. He always had a good punch selection. He was always able to tag Chisora. Chisora was lunging at a lot of his shots. Yes, he was hunting him down, and I think maybe we were impressed by that conditioning for him to be able to do so. But for me, he didn't win that fight. And I struggled to give him a lot of rounds. The thing was that Usyk looked poor because he didn't throw enough shots to really stop Chisora, which he should have done. And it was just like pity patter. So it was like nothing he was doing was preventing Chisora from closing him down. But for me, Chisora didn't win that fight. I mean, what's your thoughts, bro?
Yeah, my thoughts is exactly, we agree for once. Chisora didn't win the fight. Put up a great performance, came for war, came for blood, smelt blood, but couldn't really actually get the blood out of Usyk. Like, he hurt him a few times with these looping right hands, and you know, Usyk actually felt the power of Chisora, but also Usyk was just a tactician. He was just stepping to the left, stepping to the right. You know, yeah, literally what he does is the step to the left, step to the right, the jab, how he's able to just move around and dance around. Just basically do what he does best. And was that impressive for me? No, because I've seen it before. For me, at cruiserweight, I've seen him do that at cruiserweight. I've seen him do that with Tony Bellew. I've seen him do that with the opponent he fought. For me, I wanted to see some real venom in Usyk. I really wanted to see Usyk try to go for Derek, because at heavyweight, you're going to get a lot more. Like even
that's what I'm saying, bro.
This lets me think Dillian Whyte. If Dillian Whyte jumped in there with him, I think Dillian Whyte would do a job on him.
See, I'm not sure about that, but I get your point, because you look at.
I feel like Dillian will put a lot of pressure on him. Like Dillian would actually, despite the fact he got knocked out by that left uppercut, right? I definitely feel that, you know, he was able to do what he's able to mix the best. Like Povetkin, even though he's past his time, he's still very technical, and he was still just smothering.
One of the last things to go anyway. So do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
He was the last thing to go. So I agree with you that I would say, I'm sure what your point is, Povetkin's more powerful than Usyk, right?
Yeah, exactly. That, and also I do believe that he's a gold medalist as well. He was able to sit with the amateur and actually dominate until that knockout. So for me, Usyk hasn't really impressed me. I think Joshua beats him. I think Fury beats him. You know, I think where's he going to go from there unless he fights someone like a Ruiz? And I even think Ruiz has a good chance against Usyk, you know. I really do.
Yeah. I mean, I think the interesting thing is, obviously, he came out after the fight saying Joshua has to either vacate or fight him. And I think you might see, unless the WBO can, you know, sanction an actual unified, undisputed fight, you'll see the WBO vacate. I think that's how he gets his title. And I like, to your point, I totally agree. I think if he has to fight Joshua or Fury for a belt, he loses. Because I don't think even with his smarts won't be enough. Like if they like increase the intensity and stick it on him, like he's gonna have trouble, because there were times where even Chisora was punching him, and yes, he was riding the punches, but boy, Joshua and Chisora ain't.
Bro, when Joshua, do you know what I think Joshua's dangerous? I don't think Joshua's a one banger. I think Joshua's dangerous when he throws the threes, the fours, and the fives. When he comes at you like that, this is what people can't take. He's athletic and can throw the threes, the fours, and the five. People criticize his footwork sometimes, his movement, but when he throws and gets those combinations of punches together, that's when he's his most deadly. We've seen it with Klitschko, we've seen it with Povetkin, we've seen it with Ruiz. You know, even before he got the punch from heaven, we've seen him put those flurry of punches together. So for me, Usyk, you're in trouble. Unless maybe, you know, he's got excuses or things are happening, because I thought that was a simple cruiserweight performance. That wasn't a heavyweight blockbuster. But no, congrats to them. Congrats to Usyk. Derek will come again. But also in other news, let's talk about let's talk about Povetkin and Usyk. Povetkin, sorry, and Dillian Whyte being cancelled.
Yeah, man. So those watching the screen, you can see that now. Basically, Povetkin's has tested positive for COVID-19. He's been hospitalized, and they are now obviously rescheduling the fight. It's looking like it's going to be next year.
January 30th, apparently. That's the date they're aiming for, but I don't think he'll be able to recover on time.
You got to think that.
Forget, not old, but he's an older guy.
Exactly. And you got to think, if he's hospitalized, I mean, let's see how it plays out. I mean, look, there's no better place to start. Obviously, Eddie Hearn put the tweet out saying that Fury, seeing if there's any interest for Fury to fight Dillian Whyte on that December 5th card. Obviously, Dillian Whyte is available. I know most people will say, nah, it's never going to happen. But I'll tell you what, if I was Eddie Hearn now, I would use this as an excuse to kind of like strengthen your position. I would be calling up Frank Warren and say, Frank, let's do that lunch that we talked about. You know, let's get my steak down in not gauchos. What's the next level? Like mash. You know what I mean? Like let's go to a high class one.
STK.
Do you know what I mean? Like, right? Get some drinks in, start talking business. If they could agree that, obviously it would be down to Fury, but I don't see why Fury would be cautious about Dillian Whyte's style. You could probably argue Caballero, who he's training for anyway, is probably not too far off. You know what I mean? In terms of stocky size. And the type of pressure he applies. I think if you're talking about a British pay-per-view, and again for Fury, there's a win there because Fury can now fight in England and on a pay-per-view card, and properly, if you think about it, properly have the fans behind him. Because when he's fought in the UK, well, he didn't even fight in the UK as a champion, let's be fair, because he obviously, we know what happened after the Klitschko fight. He's just got the belt from Wilder. So this would be his first defense in the UK against a top-notch opponent. So that kind of kills off some of the criticism he does have. And I think that will do numbers, bro. Because if they tell you Tyson Fury, Dillian Whyte's on December 5th, bro, that does absolute numbers. And if you're Hearn, you even got the pleasure potentially of maybe letting BT carry the load on the promotional work because you've got, obviously, Joshua fighting Pulev on Sky. Bro,
mate, that's a good bit. The way you put that down, that's a good bit of business for her. Good bit of pocket for Dillian as well.
Yeah,
and he gets a world title, so they're not gonna shortchange him. And no work really.
Yes,
focus on these other fighters and gear up other things. Really, Dillian Whyte has the opportunity to potentially go again. So for me, especially with Usyk, if Joshua has to vacate the title as well, then it's a good opportunity. I think it's a great opportunity, but whether that happens, I don't know, because everyone's talking about Chisora. I don't want to see a trilogy. If that means sacrificing Tyson Fury and Dillian Whyte, but Frank being Frank will probably say no, don't take it.
I know. I mean, you are right, but I don't know. I think there's avenues, because even on the Frank Warren side, by fighting Dillian Whyte and Fury, in my opinion, beats him, that does away with his 200,000 years waiting for his title shot. You know what I mean? He's no longer a mandatory because you had your shot, you lost, you're back to the queue. Then if the Wilder situation needs to crop up, if there's any legalities around that, well, that will take its course. But then you've got more of a clear path to get to Joshua. Because I think Joshua's going to have Usyk complaining, you know what I mean, as a hurdle for him. And I think if you're Fury, potentially you've got more. You've got Wilder and you've got Dillian Whyte. So I don't know. I think it would be fantastic if they could get that done. But again, you've got to be real.
2020 would be such a great shitty year, but also great year for boxing and the kind of growth of kind of cutting all the.
Exactly. So, bro, we've got to just move on now before we get to the lines. We've got to talk about this individual.
AB.
I beat that boy, man. I beat that boy.
About billions. He doesn't look in good shape there either.
I think he's been doing a few lives. He definitely looks out of shape. Looks out of
look in good shape there.
Overweight.
Let's not forget AB that used to do that bang. The way he used to
exactly. Bro,
champion.
Well, so now the situation is, I understand he's got this court case. He's been jailed, and it's all linked to money, not paying the fine or the penalty that he was adjudicated
on the assault charge.
Of the assault charge. And obviously the key takeaways that everyone's pulled up is that, Al Heyman gives me money, John Vonta Davis gives me money, and like forgetting all of that, even as a cover, many guys have said they're bankrupt, 50, plenty of guys do it, and they got money, but it's all a cover. My thing with that, bro, is always the fact you need to pretend that you don't have money is a problem. Now, let's not forget, maybe 5-6 years ago, Adrian Broner was out there, burning money, throwing money around in supermarkets, dollar, and now you've been resorted to this. I think there was a video clip. Now, I don't know how authentic it is, but it's like it's like a summarized bank statement. So it kind of gives for each year and each month how much this guy's been spending. And I mean, what was crazy was even before the Pacquiao fight, he was still doing like 50K a month. But as soon as the Pacquiao fight landed, well, man started spending like $500,000 each month. And you think to yourself, Broner, you've got to sort this out. So
who's his financial advisor?
I mean, even then it doesn't matter, because all these boys, they get money, they just spend it recklessly. Do you know what I mean? Like, and that was clear evidence of that. But my point to you is this: like, can he come back from this?
Yeah, I believe AB can, because AB is always a draw, man. Whether you like him or you don't, you want to see him win, you want to see him lose. You know he's exciting. You know he's been at the top level, and you know what he has what it takes to be at the top level. So
Mhm.
for those reasons and all those different variables, you're gonna want to watch him. Just like
Mhm.
me and you spent that time on ITV4, timed our alarm clocks, waited up at like 4 or 5 o'clock to watch an average AB get
Mhm.
smoked by Pacquiao, and then for him to
Mhm.
say one. So he's always going to have that attraction. We're talking about him now. He's a crowd. He's a crowd pleaser. He gets
Mhm.
going, and ultimately he's going through a rough time right now. And I hope he's able to pull through this, because I really want to see him fight.
Mhm.
Still think he's got a couple. I still think he can beat a lot of the young guys.
Yeah.
I still think on his day, he has a lot of the welterweights, lightweights, in those vision. I still think he's got a lot to give the sport. But don't you think, if you were him, don't you think he wishes he took that DAZN money?
Um, no, because I think he would have ended up the same way, though, bro. I mean, for my point is, if I probably to speak to that, I think you're right. Yes, he can come back. I think his biggest regret is just not listening to Mayweather more. Because at the end of the
Mm.
day, no matter what anybody would want to see, I think the performance from Tank on the weekend, like, I know people was trying to criticize it, but he did what he was game plan was set out to do, and they wanted to make a statement. Tank previously had issues with Mayweather. And what was he doing? He was leaning too much on Broner, following Broner, doing all this dumb shit, dumb crap that Broner was doing. And he's totally, you can see he has to have removed himself from that. And now what is he doing? He's putting in performances. Like, putting
Do
in
you know what's
performances.
also funny, bro? Do you know
Yeah.
what's funny? Just funny. Do you know who discovered Tank?
Who? What?
Broner.
See?
Broner actually discovered Tank, allegedly, but
Yeah.
Broner actually discovered Tank, brought him to Mayweather. Mayweather went, scoop.
Yeah. Yeah, because, bro, in day, and I'm sure if Tank is honest now, like, where is he really getting development from? Broner or Mayweather? This,
Broner, bro. Come on.
he's not getting development from Broner. He's getting it
Yeah, he
from
is.
Mayweather.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? That's my point, bro. So if you're him, I think, especially after this fight now, like you could always see there was a bit of tension, and yeah, you can tell, like probably Mayweather gets on Tank's nerves. But I reckon if he was to speak to Tank real talk, I bet you he would say, you know what, like yeah, like I understand now. Like no matter what, don't forget we're going to talk about this gentleman later as well, Devin Haney. Devin Haney started working with Mayweather. Tank didn't like it because he's like, hang on a minute, I'm your fighter. Well, bring your ass to Vegas and let's get training cracking. So, bro,
Mm.
yeah, I think I agree with you. I think Broner can come back. I think if we're going to look at it on a deeper level, I think, all he's got to do is be focused. But I think to really get that focus, I think probably just needs to phone Mayweather, just kind of just like apologize and just listen because, bro, this boxing career is not long and this guy is wasting his career, man.
He hasn't
Absolutely.
got long left. I think he's got 4 years max.
Bro, he's arrested twice. Exactly. The way he
Look at all the
drinks.
young bucks coming up. Shakur Stevens. Look at all these guys there. He's going to be
I mean,
forgotten.
they're too the weight class. But you're right in terms of, regardless, bro. If he wants to compete at welterweight division, bro. I mean, Crawford would love to fight Broner. That would be a mad fight, bro. That'd be a mad fight.
Boy,
Crawford
do you know
would
what it
love
will
to
be?
fight.
If a fit Adrian Broner can fight Crawford, even though
That'd be a mad fight, bro.
Terrence Crawford's going to win, I still
Yeah.
think it's so entertaining. Like the way
Oh, that'd be mad entertaining.
Broner throws
Yes.
is nuts.
Nuts, bro. So yeah, bro. So listen, let's go out to the lines. Going out to 297. I want to say, I think it's Uncle, but we're not sure. Hello.
Hi guys.
Yes, it's Uncle. How you doing, sir?
Hello.
I'm good. I'm good. Apologies to you and the sponsors for not dialing in last week.
No worries.
I know you guys love to hear from your favorite uncle.
Yes, our famous Nostradamus. Anyway, last week you got it wrong. Last week you picked Chisora to win by knockout, second round knockout.
No, I gave it to Kojo.
I know. I'm teasing you, Uncle.
Look, guys.
Mm-hmm.
I personally think that people like Bellew and that lot, the Sky lot,
Yeah.
need to be impartial when they're working on fights. Just because someone's your mate doesn't mean you start giving him rounds he didn't win. I don't think or two in that fight.
Yeah.
Yes, Usyk is better, but you know what? He's been out for a long time, and it was. I mean, the only threat to Usyk was Chisora's being 3 stone heavier, physical strength, but he totally outboxed him. I mean, Chisora did well not to get knocked out, really.
Yeah.
You know, because he took a lot of punishment. But I personally think the fight, being in with such a big man, was beneficial to Usyk in terms of because obviously when he fights the Joshua Zanta, it's going to be fight much better. And another thing which I always say about boxing, small details are important. Usyk presents a formidable challenge to any of the top guys at heavyweight because he brings a skill level that they don't ordinarily face. I mean, the closest is probably the Cuban Ortiz, and you saw how he dealt with Wilder for a long time until Wilder's equalizer.
Yeah.
Caught up with it. So I don't think there's much really to say about that. Now, my boy Tank. Oh, what a great fight! I think Leo Santa Cruz. I've always felt Leo Santa Cruz is a great fighter.
Yeah.
But I think everybody saw why Tank is special. Speed, power, and when he faces resistance, the guy is a dog. And I mean, that's one of the best knockouts I've seen in a long time. He reminded me of the kind of knockouts Mike Tyson used to get. So for me, Tank is a special fighter. I'm personally glad that Teofimo Lopez, who I picked to beat Lomachenko, did not knock him out. Because I've got nothing against Lomachenko, but my problem is the Lomosexuals. So I want my boy Tank to give the Lomosexuals what they need.
So what? So you think you're saying you feel Tank could get the knockout against Lomachenko?
I've always felt that.
Yeah.
I've always felt that. Look, that fight could have been made, but I know for a fact that Floyd Mayweather and Leonard Ellerby probably held Tank back from that fight. Because don't forget, Tank was the youngest world champion for a long time. And whilst a guy might have talent, there are other things that go with being a champion. And you just want that maturity to come. And I think now, you know, they're ready to let Tank fight anybody, frankly, because the maturity is coming. You saw it in this fight. Leo Santa Cruz came, who's a great fighter, came to put up stern resistance. He's no clown in Santa Cruz. Yeah. But what I like is any difficulties that Santa Cruz came up with, you can see Tank work it out. Yeah. Work it out, make the adjustments, particularly look around 4 and 5 in particular, and then he pulls out the trigger in round 6. Good night, Irene. Highlight reel. But I'm glad Leo is okay. And more important, I'm glad Leo is okay, and he and his family have made some very excellent money from the fight game, and he's set up for life. Yes. You know, that's important.
So, Uncle, before it's a bit of an extended version because we didn't catch you last week. I really do want to hear your thoughts, though, on the. I'm just going to say it, list of excuses from your favorite ex-champion, former champion, Deontay Wilder.
Oh my God! You know, when I was sent the video clip, I actually thought that the guy has literally lost his mind. You know, because it doesn't look right to me. I want him to be checked into Bellevue Psychic Ward in California for a full assessment. Because I think this guy is a danger to himself. I mean, did you hear what he was coming up with? I've had it all now. It was Black History Month, the costume.
Yeah.
Now he claims Fury's gloves were loaded. Though, of course, there was someone from Wilder's camp in the room all the time, and the Nevada State Athletic
Commission.
And now and then he calls Matt Breland disloyal.
Yeah.
Matt Breland, who
Crazy.
life.
I know.
I mean, pardon my French, guys, but are you for fucking real?
That's
I mean, chill. You know what? I don't know what you guys think, but I think, you know, the people who are closest to him need to make a necessary intervention. In fact, I'm glad that the rematch is not happening, because I really feel that this guy is mentally deranged.
Yeah. I think you hit the nail on the head there. I think he's really not well. We don't know what is going through his mind, what his thought process is. I don't think anybody does. So yeah. So no, listen, Uncle. Thanks for your thoughts. Before we go, last bit of anything on your mind you wanted to say?
One thing. I mean, I don't know. I saw something on Twitter about half an hour ago about Eddie Hearn is suggesting that what about Tyson Fury versus Dillian Whyte in December? Now the Povetkin fight is called off. I don't know what you guys think of that.
I like it. If they can get, I would really like to see them get that done, Sam.
Yeah, no, this would be.
He don't really want the guy for getting knocked out.
I know, but what else can? The thing is, if you look at it, I think it ticks a lot of boxes, because Fury can beat Whyte. I don't think anyone doubts that. It's going to do good pay-per-view numbers, and then it chalks him off from this whole mandatory position that he's been fighting for. So I think it works, and he's been training.
Hold on, the mandatory thing is gone because he lost to Povetkin.
But technically, they will. If they're trying to reinstate it, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. That's that politics game. But I think essentially, it will be one of the better fights that have come out of nowhere. Do you know what I mean? I think I would be good. I agree with you. You don't reward a fighter for losing, but I think the fact your opponent is being pulled out, why not?
You know what I would like to see, but I think Top Rank want to give Fury as easy a fight as possible.
Exactly.
Because they don't want anything to jeopardize the
Joshua.
big fight with Joshua next year. Because really, if you think about it, it told me a lot that they mentioned this car, was it actually
Caballo, yeah.
Or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
When, if you think about it, they could have thrown in someone like Efe Ajagba to this fight, but they don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Because it's not because they don't think Fury can beat Efe Ajagba, but Efe Ajagba has got the power to put people to sleep.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
But Uncle, wanted to mention that. Would you not want to see Fury lose? Because if Fury loses now, then it's all even tell. I think this fight's going to be even more exciting, because this Joshua Fury, because then he's got to fight again to try and get his belts back.
Why would I want the Tyson 2-5 Fury, the Gypsy King, the man who can't be defeated by any man born of his mother? We need to do some investigations to find out if AJ is born of his mother. Otherwise, I may need to change my prediction. No, I don't know. I can understand from the UK angle, but you know, I don't know. I mean, to be honest, I think they just want him to get in the ring with as little risk as possible. They don't want an Otto Wallin type scenario again. Remember?
Yeah.
Where he got caught.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know, I mean, I don't think they're worried about Dillian you fight Dylan Whyte in December? I don't think you would.
I think they would. I don't know. I think that I don't know. Maybe because I've convinced myself, but I think it works for both. I really think it works for both of them. Like they get, because as much as I get what you're saying about the Otto Willing thing, but like he still beat him. I think it was good. It was probably one of the better run-outs that he had since his return anyway. So yeah, I don't know. But listen, Uncle, we're going to have to move to another caller, but thank you for your support as always. And, and we look forward to hearing your call. Cheers. Thank you. Thanks. Going out to Mr. Appiah, our resident. I hope we can get through. Yes. How you doing, lads? We're good. You good?
We're good, bro.
Yeah, all good. Can you hear me, yeah?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear today.
Brilliant.
How you been?
Yeah.
What's on your mind?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Yeah, all good, James, all good.
What's on your mind, bro?
Chisora v Usyk. Didn't get to see the fight. I was working. I actually listened to it on the radio, would you believe, as I was working.
Yeah.
And the fight kind of, as you said, as you were saying earlier on in the show today, that's how the fight kind of went. And been a little bit disappointed with Tony Bellew saying that he thought Chisora won. Things like that, and that he kind of thought he was wrong. Usyk done exactly what I thought he would do.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? We all know what Usyk's about. We all know what Usyk's about, and he's going to be a fucking hard man to beat at heavyweight, I tell you.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't see anyone beating him. The only man I see beating Usyk is Tyson Fury. I don't see anyone, because listen, Usyk will just be on his toes for 12 rounds. That's all he'll do. People could say, yeah.
How about Joshua? Sorry to interrupt, bro. Go on, bro. Sorry.
Well, what about Joshua? What against Usyk?
Yeah.
He'll lose. Joshua will lose, mate. Trust me.
Okay.
Your apps. I wouldn't be too sure. Usyk didn't show me anything that he can take bangs. Like Derek Chisora's bangs rocked him a little bit, and I think if he throws them 4s and 5s,
it might have rocked him, but he didn't get knocked out. He stayed. Listen, he stayed. Chisora can bang, yeah, right, and he didn't get knocked out. He stayed 12 rounds. As Pojo said, he controlled the fight. He controlled the fight, and that's what. Listen, with boxing, I ain't an expert like you guys, but a lot of people think it's all about power. Yeah, go in there and fucking let your hands go. Usyk's smart. He just fucking takes his time and, touch, move, touch, move, touch, move, touch.
Yeah.
12 rounds has been done all over. And yeah, it ain't spectacular, and it ain't fucking explosive, and it ain't great on the eye. But you know what? It's about winning. And that's all he has to do for 12. That is all he has to do. And against these bigger guys, that's what he'll do, and he will beat them. Trust me. And if you look at your shows, about a year ago I called this.
Yeah.
If you look at previous shows, about a year ago, I called the Alexander Usyk. There's a chance that he can dominate the heavyweight division.
Okay. Okay, we're gonna go back. Okay. Well, it's good to get. Definitely, we're hearing your opinion. I think we've got Inam in the chat. Inam says he thinks AJ will beat Usyk.
Inam's right.
Yeah, that's why we love this sport, right? Everybody's got opinions, and until they get into the ring, nobody is right, nobody is wrong. So yeah, no, definitely, I appreciate your time. D, quick question I wanted to ask you though. Adrian Broner, he's been arrested again. Sorry, not arrested. He was arrested, and now he's been in prison for failing to pay this penalty or this assault charge. Talking about he's only got $13 to his name. I mean, I don't want to say for you where did it all go wrong, but how can he get it? How can he get it back? How can he make things right again for himself?
By growing a pair of balls and becoming a man. Grow a pair of fucking balls and become a fucking man like everyone else has to do. It's a very, very hard job, yeah? But that's what you got to do. he's lucky he's in a good profession like boxing. Yeah, he's been blessed by God with a gift to box. On his day, he's a good fighter. Keep your head down and fucking box. Live the life of a boxer and just do what you got. Like, he needs to grow a pair of balls. Stop doing all this foolish stuff. Just become a man. And being a man becomes being disciplined. Being a man means not doing stupid things just because social media's there. Don't mean you've got to act like a clown all the time. It's got a gift. Use it. Yeah? Grow a pair of balls. Become a man.
No, thank you for that, D. Listen, man, appreciate your support as always. Before we go, do you want to just shout out your channel, boy? We always got to let them know what you're doing, where they can find you.
Yeah, thank you, my brother. Basically, you up here, the motivational speaker. I'm on YouTube. YouTube page, Daniel up here, the motivational speaker. Instagram, Daniel up here, 38. Yeah, just jump on the wagon, like, you know what I mean? I'm doing great things. I'm inspiring people in Ghana, Jamaica, Romania, Trinidad, whole of the UK to just you know, if you want to pick up, just jump on and just support me in what I'm doing.
No, I appreciate that, bro. As always, appreciate that. Listen, good luck, and we'll catch up and speak soon.
Yeah, you lot are doing great things, as you know. I follow you on all your platforms, so you lot are doing great things. Just keep it up, man.
Definitely.
Fantastic.
Thank you, buddy.
Thank you, man. Appreciate that, man. So listen, appreciate that, Dan. Take care, man. Moving on to the next caller, 060. 060.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes. Is that Shane?
Yes, bro.
Yes. Long time, man. How you doing? You good?
Long time. Yes, bro. I'm good, man.
Good.
Yeah, it's catching up, man. I managed to catch a few fights this weekend, so I was happy.
Wicked.
Yeah, man. I saw the Chisora.
Yeah. Tell me your
I don't
thoughts.
know what to expect with that one, because heavyweight is not really my forte. I do know Chisora, though, and I do like Chisora. But he just bought what I normally see him bringing in. Yeah, Warrior's Heart. Yeah, it didn't seem too bad a shape neither. I guess his style is more get him out early more than anything else. He just comes with high energy early on. He's not really a duration fighter per se. You see what I'm saying? Usyk is more of a strategy guy.
Yeah.
So I guess where Chisora's brawling, he's bringing technique and all of that. So I guess if he can weather a few hard hits, as you're going to get with Chisora, there's no way he can walk out in rain and not get wet. Yeah. But if he could do that, there's a good chance that he could bring it out, and as he did. You know, but that was a pleasure watching that old Warrior Heart in boxing right here. Then obviously there's Tank Davis and Santa Cruz. Yeah. Why? What a fight, man! What a fight!
A classic fight, right?
Davis, man, that was a pleasure to watch right there, man. When I was done with that fight, I was like, you know, this is why I like boxing. This is why I like boxing. You show me more of that more often. And there'll be nothing else I'll be doing. I'll probably be taking nights off work to flipping watch boxing. Anyway.
Yeah.
But that fight there, man, flipped me. Now Santa Cruz had him. I don't know. I mean, you guys follow Tank more closely, and I apologies. I got into the show a little late here when Uncle was up.
No worries.
And so is Tank performing to what he was before? I don't think he is personally. Or am I missing something?
Is Tank performing to his full potential? Is that what you're saying?
Or is...
Yeah, like I think I've seen him sharper than that. I think I've seen him quicker than that. I think I've seen better defense, head movement, etc. Yeah. If I'm not mistaken.
No, of course, I get what you're saying. Has he performed? I think in terms of performance and output of shots, I think the Pedraza fight where he won the world title, I think that was a much better performance in terms of how he was moving, how he was attacking. But I think as he's gone through the games and fought different fighters and just got these different experiences, different styles, I think he just knew the game plan. I think he had Mayweather, who says he never watches films, who was probably watching Santa Cruz and watched how he does, and they really thought of a good strategy for him to kind of take out Santa Cruz. And I do believe that he just worked smarter, not harder, and just saw the right opening. And that's where he came, because every time Cruz kept hitting him, he was like, "You can hit me with these shots. I'm just gonna hit you." He kept baiting him and baiting him and baiting him, and then boom, good night.
Yeah.
That shows
if I could add, Shane, I think also, because I do get what you mean. I think whether it's a cute excuse, but I think also he was fighting at a lighter weight division. So now at one, even though Santa Cruz came up, I think 135. I think he's probably still getting used to, I'm going to say, making weight in that sense, because even this fight, he was just under the 130 limit. And like last week, one of our guests said it, they were like, every single picture you see him is in a sweatsuit. So you can imagine with the pandemic and everything, how much weight he had to lose. So hopefully now, having a camp with Mayweather, we start to see that, you know what I mean, just the sharpness in that head movement. Yeah. But I agree with you. He was there to be hitting that fight, and he was getting tagged.
Yeah, and that's what I didn't like. That's what I didn't like. As much as he bought it, and hats off to him. And once again, what a hell of a fight. One thing I don't want to see though is a man so young, so talented, taking headshots like that. Yeah. Because he was taking some raw shots, boy. Yeah. He gave it back. He gave it back. Obviously, that's how he got him in the end. So, but even that last exchange there, he was willing. Obviously, he lulled him into confidence. You get me? He just lulled him into confidence, and his Park was just letting him slap it, then bang out of nowhere.
Yep.
He was getting a hit a few times though. Yep. I don't know if it's just in it, but it's a few times. Yep. And at the end of the day, if he was with an uppercut, he would have just hit a whole load of shots for what?
Yeah, for what?
You see what I'm saying? And it's that kind of thing there. And working with the man whose motto is, there ain't nothing cool about getting hit.
Yeah, exactly.
That's his. I mean, what the hell of a saying for a boxer? Ain't nothing cool about getting hit. Yeah. With Tank working with him, I don't want to see a man taking them kind of hits there. Yeah. And Mayweather knows about that shit all too well. With his uncle passing recently, and he's seen his uncle and his dad, especially his uncle, man, slowing down. You can tell it's the hits over the years or whatever. Yeah. You don't need that punch drunkness. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? Tank's got a lot. I think he's got a lot to give, and I want to see a bit of longevity on him. Yeah. And God willing, I want to see him healthy by the time he reaches Mayweather's age. Exactly. Yeah, not all punch drunk like some James Toney or something like that. So other than that, that's me nitpicking. What a hell of a fight, man. Exactly. What a hell of a fight. At the end of the day, he's in the higher echelons. He's still bringing it. He's still, so at the end of the day,
he's still delivering. Man. Before we move on, I've got a question for you. You've seen all the excuses from Deontay Wilder. I just want to get your take on that whole scenario.
You know what the problem with me and Deontay Wilder is the fraud chat sometimes. Yeah, that guy personally, he's not a great boxer. Yeah, he's not a great boxer. I personally, if I was a trainer, which I'm not, I would have let him out the gym with them windmills he was throwing a couple of years back. He's tightened up to some degree. Yeah, and for some reason, against a man like Ortiz, there's no way the man should have been surviving. He did, because he has a bloody X factor, especially that second fight. That was a whitewash for Ortiz. Yep. But that one blasted punch he had, it's an X factor that you can't quantify. And that's the problem I'm having. So, I give him his props. He's got something that works, but it's not what should be. Just kind of like you say, he's supposed to be able to do 100 meters because of his dynamics and all of that. Guess what? He's the exception to the rule. That's what Deontay Wilder is to a degree. Yeah? So I'll give him his props in that respect. But then his bloody mouth, talking that Black History Month shit, then walking in and then getting his ass kicked like that. First of all, you don't need to be talking about no black nothing. Just go and be a blasted boxer and leave it at that. You've got white fans, you've got black fans, this and that. I don't know, it just rubs me up the wrong way, and then you're going to go get your ass kicked with it anyway. So what are you really trying to rep anyway? You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Moving on from that, we got the blasted suit like Uncle was saying. I just don't understand this guy. I don't understand this guy. Because what, you going to tell me he couldn't carry his daughter and do something? Probably heavier than his little 20-pound suit, whatever it was. Yep. Anyway, there's that. Alright. Then we move on to this. Because of the previous ones, I saw him talking and it started sounding like foolishness. I just kind of let it play and continue doing what I was doing. I wasn't dividing my attention because it didn't require me to divide my attention anymore to it. I let him start talking and making up I just don't know. I think he's got some kind of God complex. I think he's a salesman. That's what he is. He's a salesman. Yeah, and fair dues. I mean, it's gonna, whether you like Mayweather, but nobody like Mayweather. Guess what? It sold tickets, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
so if it's antics are going to sell him tickets, you know, he's in this to make money, get out relatively healthy, hopefully. So make him go on with it. But I don't know, man. That guy's something wrong with him, man. But
and I think the difference is, and I think
you're stuff and talking about that,
exactly.
I'm just like, you know what? And then he goes and embarrass himself. Well, I said there's something wrong with this guy already.
And that's the key thing for me, Shane, is that like you said, I think every fighter is gonna make their style, their character, you know, kind of love or hate them. Like it helps with the sales. I think more often than not, and it's quite rare, but you mentioned Mayweather, he's the key one. Maybe Ward to a degree, but I think he was more humble. They didn't lose or they didn't get battered and they didn't put up excuses. Do you know what I mean? It's like they had the goods. They've got the fundamentals. They've got the work ethic. You know, they've just got everything else. That means that when it comes inside the ring, you can't chat crap about them. Whereas with Wilder, you're coming up with all these excuses, and it's like for all the excuses, which was some mad conspiracy theory, you don't want to address the fact that you don't like to run. You don't want to address the fact that you really shouldn't have sex before a big fight. You don't want to address the fact that like you're not working on the fundamentals. None of that gets used as excuses. Everything, I mean, to go from the ref to your coach spiking you, and man had egg weights. I mean, I know 2020 has been a fucked up year, but damn, man, he's taking it. He's taking it to the extreme, man. So yeah, I don't know. It's a bad one. It's a bad one. So listen, Shane, appreciate you calling in. Please call in some more often, man. Always love hearing your points of view.
Yeah, and you know what? It's just for me to catch the bloody fights on time, mate. Because every time I catch some later on in the week, and I've got a couple of days off. That's the problem. I do apologize, but I do tune in.
Yes. Nah, appreciate. I know you do. Nah, brother.
Great show. Keep it up, man. I love seeing what you guys are doing.
Thank you.
What I'm saying. I know I can tune in and catch up with what I've missed anyway. So if I'm not contributing, I'm getting a bit of boxing on, so I can still banter with the lads anyway. So,
thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you, man. Love, man. Love. Cheers. Appreciate that, bro. Take care. So yeah, bro. So moving on, man. I think we've got one big fight this weekend, really.
Haney.
So, you know what? I was just about to say, man, but I realized Gamboa is not white. I was like, man, this was going to be that opportunity. But yeah, we got Devin, the Dream Haney, Gamboa. Gamboa, who's previously fought the likes of Crawford and obviously Tank Davis last year, is now taking on Devin Haney for his emailed WBC lightweight title. Bro, we got to look at the credentials. Devin Haney so far is 24-0 with 15 knockouts. Gamboa is 30 wins, 3 losses, 3 of those losses by knockout. And
he's a knockout. He likes to bang.
18 KOs himself. So listen, I mean, bro, you know, we've got to talk about this fight. It's a kind of, I guess, one of the return for DAZN over in the States as well, coupled with their news of launching in an additional 200 countries. But I mean, you know, the card is relatively okay. You got Hergovic on that card as well. But for Haney, he likes to think of himself as one of the best in that division. Do you think he should really be taking on taking on Gamboa, knowing that Gamboa's just gotten, well, last year he lost to Tank Davis?
I don't think there's any. I think it just gives him another name just to keep him in Tank's, like, because right now he's off. He's kind of riding off the back of Tank's name. It's him kind of, it's like a little love triangle trying to get Floyd Mayweather's approval. So them kind of circulating and fighting each other's like dead weight is quite interesting, and it's nice to hear. Obviously, Devin Haney's got a lot to prove. Got a big game during lockdown. Spoke about Luke Campbell, Teofimo. Even the other day, I saw a post on the live where Devin basically said Floyd stop talking for Tank, so he's out there for the smoke and he's a talker. Has he proved he's a walker? I don't know as of yet. I don't think there's been any fights which made us say, like, damn. Like, Tank's proved himself with Pedraza, Santa Cruz, Gamboa, all the time he can bang. You know, Teofimo proved himself with, you know, Lomachenko. So now it's just a case of, bro, I want to see a knockout this weekend. I want to see you outsmoke this guy so badly that everyone's just going to be like, it's impossible if you give this guy a couple rounds. How I want to see it. Otherwise, he's got to knock him out, and if he knocks him out, impressive. Yeah, he's got a lot to prove considering he got his belt emailed to him. So We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, no, I think that's a very good point there, and I think it's a very fair point. You know, he's got a lot to prove. The pressure is on him. Can he deliver? Possibly. I think Devin Haney is a skilled fighter. You know, fundamentally sound, strong. Like, he seems to have a bit of a killer instinct. You know, with some of the fights that we've seen. I just feel I wanted to see a bit more. I'm going to be real. I just wanted to see a bit more, but maybe I'm just being overcritical because I think, you know, like Mayweather always says, you know, these young fighters want to be him without doing the work. Or like Teofimo Lopez says, they want to be Mayweather without being pretty boy Mayweather. So, yeah, that's probably my one criticism of Devin Haney. But listen, all the best of luck to him. I think if he can get that win, and then going into next year, you know, they can really start to make some of the big fights in that lightweight because there's no reason to do so. I think he has to defend his belt. I think coming up against Lopez, I think it's a fight he will be confident about going into. So that means we should be able to get that fight made. The zone, Top Rank, doesn't seem to be a cold war there politically. So let's get that going. Before we go, I do want to mention Hrgović. Filip Hrgović fought on the undercard of Joshua when he beat Ruiz in the rematch over in Saudi Arabia. This guy, listen, Filip Hrgović, whilst he's not known to a lot of people, he's got a bit of a buzz behind him. Many people about him as being like a bit of a dangerous heavyweight. And I would definitely say, listen, you know, if this guy can come through the weekend with more noise in terms of the performance, I would say 2021 is going to be a big year for him. Not necessarily at title level, but again, it's who you can beat to rise to get leverage in the charts, in the division.
100%, bro. I'll tell you what. If Dubois comes up, you know, beats Joyce, I see those two matching up next year, no brainer.
That'll be a mad fight.
No brainer. And the thing is, Dubois is strong, fit, and can bang, bro. Dubois is a dangerous guy, and I'm looking forward to see if that fight actually happens in December. So we'll see.
Exactly. I mean, it's funny you said because that fight, because it kept being pushed back, and like we still haven't had it yet. We do hope it comes through. It's mad, bro, because I'm just thinking Dubois wins that fight, bro. The levels he moves to, like, it's kind of nuts. Like, because I think then you're kind of, I don't want to say scary, but then you're really talking about somebody that beat Joe Joyce is fundamentally sound. So if he knocks him out, boy,
bro.
Like,
so I'm saying, I'm excited for that.
Yeah, he's excited for that. Unit. He's a unit. So listen, on that note, it's been a pleasure as always. Before we go, do you want to shout out your social media handles?
SD Raps on TV, SDWOTV. That's the Instagram, that's the handles. And follow, like, subscribe, share. Quarantine's coming up, so we're going to have a lot more of our American fighters. That's what we do in quarantine. And just kind of grow from there, really. But yeah, Quarantine Club, bring that on and bring on the other parts of the business.
Exactly. I mean, just to like say similar to everyone, I think stay safe, you know, keep working, keep your heads up. Good thing that we've got a lot of fights to keep us occupied. But yeah, it's going to be a bit of a hard lockdown for a lot of people that are based in the UK. But the number one thing is to stay safe, stay sane, and support Raps on TV, live boxing show. You know what to do. Like, share, and subscribe on all the media platforms. But as always, just want to say a big thank you to all the guests, all the callers, and we're going to make our move and we're going to bounce. So, brother, thank you very much as always. Cheers, and speak to you in a bit, man. Take care, bro.
Cheers, bro. Bye-bye.
Cheers, man. Bye.